Alright guys, today we're back with another review of a keyboard case for the iPad Air 2. Last time we took a look at the Logitech Type Plus keyboard case, which pretty much encased the iPad, gave it a protective case. Now we're looking at the Logitech Ultrathin case. We'll kind of cover, all it is a front cover. You flip it open and it's the keyboard. It leaves the whole iPad exposed, but for some, that's okay. This keyboard is definitely not going to work for everybody. There are pros and cons to it. For me personally, there are more pros than cons. It's not as expensive as a Type Plus case. You're getting pretty much the same exact keyboard that was found on the Type Plus. So let's take a closer look and see if this keyboard is the right one for you. Alright guys, so let's dive right into the design of this keyboard. We'll take a quick look. There aren't many changes from the previous generations. It's practically the same. There are a few slight changes we'll take a look at. First one being the hinge. From previous generations it used to have a curve. Now it's a straight kind of edge, which a lot of people aren't very fond of. But I, for one, don't really mind it. Just taking a look around the rest of the case, we have two mounting rubbers here. So when you have it closed, the keyboard doesn't scratch the screen. On the side here, they no longer do a rechargeable battery, so you do not need to recharge it. They do provide a 2-year battery life on these CR2032 3-volt batteries. There's 2 of them. So when these run out, you can switch them. But in 2 years, if they're going to last that long on a 2-hour daily usage statistic, I would be surprised if you still had this in 2 years, if not another new iPad, or if this just broke in that time. You have the light here. Blue means it's Bluetooth connected, green means it's powered on. Because they took out the need for a rechargeable battery, and that battery is so small, there's no USB port, there's only a power switch here. You have a Bluetooth button here, and the only time you ever really need to use this button is if you want to connect to another device like an iPhone or another iPad. Of course, the beauty of this case is the keyboard, and it is almost identical to the one that the Type Plus had, which I loved, and I think everyone loves using itself. Of course, you have the concave keys, which is great for a typing experience. You have the full keyboard layout, and no keys are joined together like any iPad mini keyboard case. They add the additional action keys up here, which they did in the Type Plus as well. You have the home button, you have the double home button, which just acts as a multitask switcher. This is for Siri, search, keyboard, camera, music buttons, volume buttons, and then the lock key. You have the shortcuts, great tactile feedback on each key. The arrow keys are great for selection, Logitech logo. You have a rubber band at the top here, as well as feet here. These aren't rubber. This is rubber because when you have it on the surface, it won't move as much. The height difference between these two are almost identical. You're just about doubling the height of the iPad when you have this on. You're not buying bulk, and that's the main selling point of this. This is one of those cases for those kind of people who want that minimal lifestyle. So let's just take a look at some functions of the case that it provides. First one being the hinge. Of course, we talked about earlier with the design of it, but you get a certain angle in it. It's also magnetic, which is nice because when you lift your iPad, it won't fall off, or your iPad won't fall off if you push it too hard. You see here, I'm pushing it pretty hard. It's not falling off. It's actually just moving backwards like the hinge would, and it's not. So if I would push, like I'm actually trying to push it off, and it's not falling off. So that's a great hinge there. Next is the mounting point, mounting hinge. When the iPad is not locked in, the hinge does go flush with the surface. Some people are saying that, oh, you didn't need to do that because when the iPad is on, you're not even seeing the hinge, so whether it's flush or not doesn't really matter. When you mount it, you kind of have to go in at a very low angle, maybe like 10 to 15 degrees, sliding it in for this hinge to really pop out by itself, like so. Anything higher, it doesn't catch on to the magnet. Kind of just, you'd have to get lucky, I guess, like a few times here. I'm getting lucky. But to be sure that it's going to mount, go in at a low angle, it pops up by itself, and it works just like that. So the magnet on the hinge, some people are saying that it's not as strong as it used to be, or that it's not strong at all, really, and it's falling off on their bags. To me, I think the magnet strength here is pretty much exactly on point. You know, I'm just holding a hinge here, and a little movement's not going to push it off. The strength of the magnets is just right, because when I put it down and I want to take it off, I just pull off. Anything stronger would actually yank the whole thing. I'd require 2 hands to actually put it off, but with this mounted, I can just pull it off and mount just like that. So the real value in this case, and what anyone should be looking for in this case specifically, is that it's so thin and portable. You're only pretty much doubling the size of the iPad. It's only 6.4 millimeters thick. People who just want a light portable keyboard, this is the one to go with. Of course, with any Logitech keyboard, the keyboard itself is where the money is at. It's such a nice typing experience. I can type on this all day, and I typed my whole review on this, of course. It's just a beautiful typing experience, especially with the keys being so clicky. And of course, some cons, which aren't really cons. It really just depends on the type of person you are and the type of user you are. There is no protection. If you're looking for protection, this is not the case to go with. There are other cases for you. And my one other gripe is that it's not designed to be able to be used outside of just the keyboard. Like the Type Plus keyboard, I could fold it over and use it like so. This, it's not really, not so much. I guess you could just lay it flat like this. You can kind of hold it like a sandwich, like so, but I'd be afraid it kind of just slips off because there's no real grip on it. That's the Logitech Ultrathin keyboard for the iPad Air 2. You're not looking for protection on this case. This is an ultra thin keyboard. It lives up to its name. It's 6.4 millimeters thin. All it's meant to do is give you a keyboard on the go and be ultra portable. You're getting the great typing experience really only a Logitech keyboard can offer, and the hinging system is not so bad as everyone's saying it is. I like it because it keeps the iPad back above any surface when it's laid on a table. You don't need to recharge it, which is great. It has a 2-year battery life. By that time, again, you're not gonna be using this keyboard anyways. You're probably gonna have a new iPad by then. If you liked my video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and definitely subscribe for future updates, because there will be more. That's it, guys. I rest my case.